week of November 27th, 2022. This is the week that takes us into December, and so you'll be looking for the forecast to come out for December, and that should happen on Tuesday. Well, Tuesday or Wednesday. You know what? The thing to do is to you're busy people. You're busy people. Just subscribe. And this way, and you hit the little bell for notification, and this way you don't have to worry about it. It'll come to you. You don't have to go looking for it. You have to remember to look for the December forecast. Okay, so what do we have going on over here this week? This is a week of truth and lies. And it sounds like it's quite a nebulous statement. And as you'll see, that's very appropriate. It should be a nebulous statement because it's kind of a nebulous week. At the beginning of the week, we have the truth. We have Mercury opposed to Mars and squaring sextile to Saturn. And these are aspects that can get us to tell the truth. Now, the Mercury-Mars thing sounds like it could be a little combative. Mercury opposing Mars sounds like it might be a bit combative, and it might be. But it'd be a healthy kind of argument. For one thing, Mercury is, well, Mars is in Mercury's home sign of Gemini, so there's a kind of reception going on there, and that's a positive thing. And Mercury, if you want to get real technical, it is in Mars's decanate of Sagittarius, if you wanted to get that way about it. So it's like a healthy, productive kind of discussion rather than just an argument about things. And then the sextile to Saturn will help to sort of put things on an even keel. Now, to be honest, that's just an expression because I'm always honest with you. To be honest, Mercury in Sagittarius can be a little bit shy of precise on the details. Mercury in Sagittarius is really looking for the beliefs. We're going to be talking about the beliefs, what we think should be. The worldview that we have, not so much whether or not it's being supported by the details, but perhaps Mars will be able to contribute some of that out in retrograding as he is out in Gemini. So we have some potential here to at least express some things and have a dialogue about stuff. Now, there's another thing, another truth teller kind of aspect that is happening this week that is pretty important. And the earliest hours of Wednesday morning, Pallas Athene, the truth teller asteroid, the goddess of wisdom who carries a spear, you better listen, the strategist, is going to station to retrograde in the sign of Cancer. That means that when we look at the beginning part of the week, look for examples of people coming out and speaking about the community, about the greater good. Very likely, because of the way we tend to carry these energies, very likely it'll be prominent women. At the international and national level, it'll be at the local level, it'll be at the community level, and it'll be in our personal lives. This is, speaking what is good for the community, for all of us, in a kind of organic sort of way. So that we'll be looking for the warrior goddesses to be speaking at the beginning part of the week. This is all the truth end of the week, even if Mercury in Sagittarius is, ready to bend the truth. Okay. Now, when we get to the end of the week, we have a whole different situation going on. And from Wednesday onwards, I would think that it is a good time, and it is a good time. It is a good time to just sort of knock off, relax, don't take things too seriously. Get lost in a fantasy, read a good book, write a good book, whatever you want to do. But it's not a great time for dealing with reality. Why is that, you say? Well, we have Neptune stationing on the 3rd. That'll be Saturday. Neptune is stationing on the 3rd. That is not the time to be dealing with things in a reality kind of basis, right? So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're talking about the weekend here. Not a good time for things on a practical level. Adding a little insult to the injury, Mercury, remember he's in Sagittarius where he's a little bit less than precise about things anyway. and very frank and open in discussions, I should add in too, is going to be squaring Neptune. So here we have like a kind of war of belief systems and really nobody around to check the facts. So the sense there is really when we get to the end of the week, Mercury squares Neptune to be precise on the first, but in all honesty, this really, we could just say in practical terms, from Wednesday forward, we're within the Neptunian fog. It's not a bad time. It's not a bad time. I'm not anti-Neptune. Neptune is great. It's a tremendous time for meditation. It's a tremendous time for, pursuing creativity without even looking for a product at the end, just to enjoy it. It is a very good time for any kind of spiritual pursuit. It is, it's a pretty good time for a lot of stuff. It's just not a good time for practical decisions. It's not an excellent time to be taking in new information. Mercury square Neptune is pretty much like Mercury retrograde amped up a notch. It doesn't last as long, but you get a big dose of it at the at one time. Very, very strong from Wednesday onwards. And again, with Neptune stationing, all of these aspects are really kind of drawn out. Now, no sooner does Neptune station than Venus steps into the picture, technically on the early hours of next Sunday, but we'll be feeling it Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Well, now Venus square to Neptune, you can see too much or too little in a person, in a relationship. You can idealize someone, you can demonize someone. Now, this is, again, a square, so it's not an opposition. It doesn't necessarily need to be played out with another person. Could be. Very likely it would be your own feelings about that person rather than an interaction. But of course, if you feel a certain way, you're going to interact, and then there you go. Another possibility for Venus Neptune is the sense of pining away for someone, or feeling that there is no relationship to think about anyway. You can feel some despondency when Venus and Neptune are in hard aspects to each other. Well, how would I handle this? I would say that you have to remember Venus is in Sagittarius. And although you could feel things are not as great as they could be, you could feel that your relationship life is not good. You could, on the other hand, take that Sagittarian initiative and see if you couldn't do something about it. I wouldn't think that it's going to be a realistic plan at this point in time, but as you go forward from the end of this week, you can sort of think about it as being a bit of an opportunity to, reaffirm your Sagittarian good sense about things. It may take until Venus gets into Capricorn sometime around the 9th of December that you actually start putting stuff into play. But, you can remember, if there's any negatives, they're going to be internal. And if there's any positives, let them be internal for this week, and we can sort of sort it out. We can sort out the reality as we go along from there. Another possibility with Venus square to Neptune, which is really, really great, is the ability to experience things aesthetically very deeply, so a trip to a museum, or, look at it online, or whatever you want to do. Again, creative, playful kind of stuff, not really worried about the outcome. You learn something about yourself in the process of creating or of taking in music, visual arts, and things like that. And also throughout the end of the week, from Wednesday onward, serendipity is your word, right? Serendipity is what is going to guide you this week. It's not a great time to have plans. I mean, you can have plans, but be flexible about them. Don't expect things to fall into place exactly as expected. I mean, and with a Neptune station and then aspects to Mercury and Venus on either side of it, plans are just likely to fall apart and have to be reconstituted and so on. You can have a marvelous time. It's just that sort of Saturnian sense of, oh, I'm going to do this is likely to be a little bit unrealistic at this point. In fact, from Wednesday onwards, everything this week is a bit unrealistic. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Make the most of it. If things are going great in a relationship, if things are going wonderful at work, enjoy it. And if things are not so great, don't make too much out of it. And if things are great, don't make too much out of it. It's good to have things going well, but maybe they look a little bit better than they otherwise would. So we start the week, opportunity for truth, open discussions, maybe very frank discussions, maybe a little bit of tact is missing, but hey, look, you know what I'm saying? At least you get the point across. You can kind of come to the point of some sort of agreement on things, and at least you get to express yourself. Palace Athene, that's much more collective kind of aspect, but we'll see it, reverberating at all different levels. This is the truth teller. This is the truth teller. This is the inconvenient truth that comes out, but also the hopeful truth about what we can do together. End of the week, well, that's a whole other story. That's a whole other story. From Wednesday on, it's just a vague, nebulous, and hopefully really, really fun time.